A simple statement from a businessman changed a beggar's life forever. Dear viewers, a businessman told the beggar, "You are in a wheelchair, but you still have your hands, your brain, and your intelligence. You can use these strengths to do so much more." But how did these words transform the beggar's life? You will be amazed when you hear the whole story. This story begins at a railway station in Istanbul, Turkey. A beggar sitting in a wheelchair would ask passengers for money or food every day. He believed that begging was his only way to survive. One day, he noticed a wealthy man sitting on the train and thought, "This man must be rich. If I beg from him, he might give me a lot of money." So he approached the wealthy man and asked for alms. The businessman replied, "Do you only take from others? Have you ever given anything in return?" The beggar, surprised, responded, "Sir, can't you see? I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I'm disabled. How can I give anything to others? If I had the ability, of course I would." The businessman smiled and said, "But even in this wheelchair, your brain is working. You are answering my questions intelligently. You can move your hands and you can speak. So you do have something to offer. You should not only take, but also give." Then the businessman got off the train and left. But the beggar couldn't stop thinking about his words all night. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. He wondered, will I just keep asking for help forever? Can I also give something? In truth, the beggar always had a desire to do something on his own, but he kept thinking, I have no legs. I can't do anything except beg. However, the businessman reminded him that even without legs, he still had his brain and communication skills. That realization sparked a new thought process within him. For 2 days, he kept searching for an answer. Then, he noticed some beautiful flowers blooming near the railway station. A new idea came to his mind. What if instead of just begging, I give people a flower in return? So he collected some flowers and got on the train. This time, whenever someone gave him money, he handed them a flower in return. To his surprise, people were delighted by this gesture. Instead of just donating out of pity, they happily gave him even more money. Within a few days, he realized that his earnings had significantly increased because people now saw him not as a beggar, but as a flower seller. And flowers, being symbols of love and emotion, made his small business even more appealing. His business gradually grew. Since he could communicate well, he made agreements with local people who were unemployed, hiring them to collect fresh flowers for him. He even formed a small marketing team consisting of former beggars and homeless people to help with selling the flowers. Soon he understood that he didn't need to sell flowers alone. He could create jobs for others and earn even more. His business expanded and he started sharing his inspirational journey with others. People loved his story. As a result, flower shops began opening in different parts of the city, and customers preferred buying from his shop. His business kept growing, and he hired more employees, many of whom were previously unemployed or homeless. Now, more than 100 workers were employed under him, involved in flower collection, processing, and sales. One day, the same wealthy businessman entered the largest flower shop in the city to buy flowers for his wife on their wedding anniversary. To his amazement, the shop owner was none other than the beggar he had once spoken to. With a warm smile, the former beggar asked, "Do you recognize me?" The businessman, astonished, replied, "Are you the man I once refused to give money to?" The man in the wheelchair nodded and said, "Yes. Today, I am a successful entrepreneur, all because of the lesson you taught me. You showed me that we truly receive when we start giving from the heart. I applied that lesson to my life." He then offered the businessman a beautiful bouquet as a token of gratitude. The businessman smiled and said, "How could I forget the lesson I once shared? If you are giving me something for free, I must also give you something in return." He handed over his business card and said, "Get in touch with me. Let's work together as business partners in the future." Lessons from this story. This story teaches us an important life lesson. Allah the Almighty says in the Holy Quran, "And whatever you spend in the cause of Allah will be fully repaid to you, and you will not be wronged." Surah Al-Anfal, verse 60. The moment the man in the wheelchair, who was once a beggar, began giving instead of just taking, his life changed. This proves that the Quranic verse is true. When you give, you receive more in return. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The best earnings are those earned through one's hard work." When the beggar started working instead of begging, he gained both respect and success. Allah also says in the Quran, Surah Ar-Ra'd, Ayah 11, "Indeed, Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves." This means that when we change our mindset and realize our true potential, great transformations happen in our lives. This story clearly shows, if you want to receive, you must first learn to give. In Islam, wealth truly belongs to Allah. When we use our resources to help others, Allah multiplies our blessings many times over. So think big, be generous, and trust in Allah. Success will surely come your way. May Allah bless us all with lawful earnings and the ability to give generously. Ameen.